Okay, let's talk about this situation at the end of the Sunday Night Football game because a lot of people were curious about what exactly happened here. So I've paused it to set the stage. We'll pick up here. Packers have the ball with 2 minutes left. I think worth noting in this situation, the Cowboys are out of timeouts. So the Cowboys can't control the clock whatsoever since the Packers are on offense, and the Packers have a timeout as well. With this much time left, you're not even really thinking that the clock's going to have too much of an impact as long as you pay attention to it. But let's see what Green Bay does. Again, worth noting, down by 3 points. So if they fail to score, it's over, the Cowboys win. If they score a touchdown, it's over, the Packers win. If the Packers kick a field goal, then if there's time left, the Cowboys can try and march down the field. Any score of theirs would win the game. So on this play, Jordan Love's going to take the snap, makes a nice throw over the middle. They're able to, after some nice work, get the first down. But when we go over here, you're going to notice there is a lot of clock that has been taken off the board here. In fact, it's, paused it right here with 5 seconds left on the play clock. So they wasted, or they let 35 seconds essentially burn off the clock right here. This is a decision. This isn't a mistake by the Packers. They're actively trying to burn clock because their logic is as long as we have time to operate in this situation, any time left over is only going to help Dallas, right? There's no real way that helps Green Bay because Green Bay only has one timeout. Anyway, it's unlikely they'll get the ball back again after this drive. On this next play, you're going to see that Jordan Love again works over the middle. Nice play there, but ultimately the clock keeps running. They also ran the ball after that, so clock keeps running after all that. They're now here, but they did let a minute and 27 seconds go off the clock essentially on those 3 plays to set up a first down and 10 at the 12-yard line. Again, you're hoping you just score a touchdown and you don't have to worry about the clock. But on this wide receiver screen, it's played really nicely by Trayvon Diggs. He gets straight into the backfield, and now you have a second down and 13, and Matt LaFleur decided to call that one timeout that the Packers had. So now you're out of timeouts, which changes things. And I think this is the real argument against what Matt LaFleur did in this game is now they got into a situation with 28 seconds left where they feel like they don't have their entire playbook open. They've been running the ball effectively. You don't really want to run the ball now in this situation. And had you just given yourself an extra 30 seconds, again, the Cowboys would not have been able to stop the clock. If you get tackled in bounds, you could still, kill a 40 seconds if you needed to. But because you did not save that, who knows? They could have at least saved, 15, 20 seconds. I think that would have just opened up the playbook and let them feel like they can do really whatever they want. And also, this play is just going to be a mistake from Jordan Love. I mean, you can't do whatever you want now, and yet he still throws this one for a check down that loses a couple of yards. So now you get to this situation where they're going to have to hurry up to the line. They are going to get the ball snapped right here with 6 seconds left. But now you're like, is this even enough time to run a play? We all remember the Matt Eberflus, Caleb Williams disaster on Thanksgiving last year when they had a situation like this. They weren't able to, they got the snap off, but then the play took too long and they killed the rest of the clock and never got a chance for a game-tying field goal. Here, Love takes the snap. He's going to throw this one down the field. And you're like, is there enough time? Yes. Paused it right here. 1 second left on the clock. It actually had just flipped to 1 second right as the ball was hitting the ground. So they had basically an entire full second. But that's not a lot of time. That's really cutting it close. And I do feel like while they kind of got away with it here, this was one bad bounce away from being a disaster and turning what could have been a win into ultimately a loss. The flip side is over here, and I'm sure this is what Matt LaFleur will argue. So again, let's pause it after this game-tying field goal. There's zeros on the clock, and it was 4th down and 14 anyway. You weren't going to go for it at this point. So if you assume everything went the same way as it would have gone without the weird clock management, well, then this actually works out because you made sure Dallas didn't get another opportunity. They walked away with a tie, which, yes, isn't what they wanted going into the game, but ultimately, hey, it was 3 years ago in Rodgers' last season that they missed the playoffs due to a tiebreaker. If they had an extra tie instead of one of those losses, they would have made the playoffs. So you don't want to not play for the tie and then, lose because of it, but also you don't want to play for the tie and fail to win because of it. So that's where the decision is interesting, where essentially the Packers with this decision said, we are raising the likelihood of a tie, essentially killing the likelihood of a loss, even though I guess I shouldn't say that because they nearly blew it at the end of that clock management. But in an ideal situation, you're killing the idea of any potential loss, but you're also lowering the odds of an outright win because, it's a little bit harder to score. I think it's probably a mistake in this situation, right? Just because of how the offense has been playing. Just let your offense run, and you probably end up in the end zone. But ultimately, I don't know, very fascinating strategy, which is why I wanted to talk about it. So what do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.